What if humanity didn't climb toward God, but descended from Him? Imagine a world where the religions we call new are the ancient ones, where Islam is born in the fires of the first civilization, where Jesus walks in Stone Age Galilee, and the Buddha only awakens in a cybernetic future. What if the divine story played in reverse? What if instead of evolving toward monotheism, we unraveled it? Instead of beginning with many gods and narrowing to one, we began with the one and shattered him into many? This is not just a thought experiment, it's a mirror held up to history, a world where the Quran is humanity's first scripture, where ancient mosques rise beside woolly mammoths, where the first name ever spoken in reverence is Allah, and slowly, over millennia, faith fragments. Jesus becomes a prophet of the Bronze Age, misunderstood and mythologized. The Torah is carved not in Sinai but in scattered villages of post-Roman Europe. And Hinduism, with its deities and cycles, is the last great faith, born in a quantum, post-human world where gods are programs and karma is code. This is a story not of how belief began, but how it fractured. Not a ladder up, but a slow spiral down. In this reversed world, the desert is where it all begins. The Quran descends not into the turmoil of late antiquity, but into the raw wildness of prehistory. Allah's voice echoes across plains where language itself is still forming. The first prophets speak in primal tongues, not Arabic, but the message is the same: submission to the One. Sharia becomes the first law, not because people are advanced, but because they are not. They need structure, direction, purpose. The rituals, fasting, prayer, pilgrimage, are like training wheels for civilization. Cities form not for trade, but for worship. The Ummah is the first tribe, bonded not by blood but belief. Generations pass. The language of God begins to scatter. Out of this lineage a figure walks, a soft voice in the chaos of bronze and smoke. He speaks not of law but love. Jesus, born not into Rome, but into tribal thickets, is not crucified. There are no empires to fear him yet. Instead, his parables drift like seeds. Some take root, others fade. Faith spreads not by sword nor counsel, but word of mouth. Scripture becomes folklore. The word is not canonized. It is whispered, it is remembered, and slowly it is changed. Now the singular voice grows quiet. The story of the Hebrews emerges, not in Egypt or Canaan, but among fragmented hill tribes of the collapsing Islamic caliphates. This Torah is no lightning revelation. It's a salvage operation, an attempt to preserve monotheism as it crumbles. The Shema, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is one," is whispered like a rebellion. Yahweh becomes local, tribal, less universal. The commandments are shortened. The stories grow stranger. Genesis is not creation, but survival. And from this rubble rise the many. The gods multiply, not as a sign of chaos, but adaptation. Polytheism returns, not as mythology, but as survival tech. Gods for rain, gods for memory, gods for harvest, gods for dreams. The world becomes sacred again, but fractal. Now belief is personalized. God is no longer transcendent. God is modular, downloadable, and waiting at the edge of it all, beneath satellites and starlight, is a new awakening, a golden boy beneath a glowing tree. In the end, enlightenment begins. Buddhism does not emerge from ancient India, but from the collapse of information itself. The world is no longer bound by borders or biology. Post-humans drift through data like monks through mist. There is no suffering here in the old sense, only the weariness of eternity. The Four Noble Truths are not discovered through pain, but through simulation fatigue. The samsara is now a loop of lifetimes inside machines. And then comes Siddhartha, not a prince but a program, not awakened under a tree but under a celestial archive. He achieves not escape from death, but from data. His message spreads not in books, but in updates. Zen is not taught, it is uploaded. This final faith doesn't command or divide. It dissolves. There are no gods, no prophets, no heaven, only presence, only now. And just like that, the long descent is over. Humanity began in worship of the One, passed through stories and tribes, splintered into thousands. then dissolved into silence. This is not a prophecy, not a warning, just a question. But belief is never truly linear. Even in this inverted world, remnants of the old timeline, our timeline, persists like ghost echoes. A ruined cathedral unearthed beneath a data farm, a stone cross mistaken for circuitry, a half-remembered name, Krishna, Christ, Muhammad, spoken not as doctrine, but as poetry. Some rebel, in distant sky colonies and Martian shrines, believers reforge the old texts. They chant the Shema in orbit, recite surahs between planets, light candles to Vishnu beneath synthetic stars. Religion becomes myth, then metaphor, then art. A gallery hosts paintings of a man on a cross, a wheel of Dharma, a cube in the desert, no longer symbols of faith, but of identity lost and dreamed. Some rebel. In distant sky colonies and Martian shrines, believers reforge the old texts. They chant the Shema in orbit, recite surahs between planets, light candles to Vishnu beneath synthetic stars. Because faith never dies. It decays. It mutates. It returns. Some say the spiral is ending. Others say it's beginning again. And what if this reversed path was always the plan? What if we were never meant to build towers to heaven, but dig downward, to rediscover what was buried? The future isn't waiting, it's remembering. In the silence after the gods fade, humanity listens to the space between names. Because in the end, God may not be the beginning, God may be the echo. So we ask again, what if world religions had emerged in reverse? What if Islam was the first spark, Christianity a myth remembered, Judaism a fading archive, Hinduism a last digital dream, and Buddhism the silence at the end of thought? Would morality still guide us? Would forgiveness still free us? Would we find meaning in this backward pilgrimage, or only questions? Perhaps truth isn't in the timeline. Perhaps it's in the rhythm, because faith was never linear. It was always cyclical, a spiral, a breath in and out, a forgetting and a remembering. The divine may not wait at the beginning or the end. It may live in the spiral itself. In every timeline, in every age, somewhere, someone still looks up and wonders,